6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Bringing you bold discussions, the hottest topics, and some tracks to keep you moving. The Drive Time Exchange on Net Radio, taking you above and beyond.
All right, and of course, it is really party time. And when we talk party time, we're not talking fete. That kind of fete, at least. Anyhow, people, welcome inside your afternoon drive time right here on New Era TT Radio. And of course, this is where we are joined by none other than Tony Fraser. It's always a pleasure to have him on the inside. Tony, good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
I am good, Sir Charles. I particularly like this afternoon's program. I am sure that our listeners will enjoy to the fullest because, as you indicated in your first song playing, and we're going to hear much more of that later on in the program, what we are talking about this afternoon is party time by the Calypsonians. How the Calypsonians have, over the decades, put them out, so to speak, in election business, in the business of politicians and so on. They have always been articulating about elections and about politicians and so on, going back many decades. And we are very happy, Chalo, to have with us this afternoon no one else but the man most attuned, best qualified, most experienced to talk to us about election calypso, Zeno Obi Constance. Welcome to the program, Zeno. You can, yeah, and yes, wonderful to have you there. You can open up your picture so let people see your face, man. Who you are. You're not in,
And
not,
your
you didn't come to
microphone.
town yesterday, right? Wonderful.
Yeah, but people don't normally see my face, but welcome, people. Glad to be
Yes,
here.
right. And Zeno is a Calypso archivist. He's a former lecturer in Calypso at the University of the West Indies, Calypso history, that is, and of course, a playwright and somebody who has put on quite a number of shows regarding Calypso and all of that. And Zeno, you're kind of alone these days, you know. Roller gone,
Yeah, well, due to that,
Reggie's gone.
Reggie's gone, yes, he would have
And,
gone, but then, so that, I had to hold on.
Yeah, Rocky McCollin gone.
You see, but you only calling men with R in the name, so I say.
Yes, yes. So, Zeno, you left behind to battle the ship.
Yeah,
And,
well,
in a serious way, bring our listeners aware of how the Calypsonians have inserted themselves into electioneering. And this didn't start yesterday or the day before yesterday. This goes back a whole long period of time. And Charlo, as we know, Charlo has the music. So Charles has the music. And how we gonna proceed, Zeno, is to go back to the start. I don't know, you've sent 20 odd calypsos. I don't know how far we will get with them, but we will surely ensure that the best ones, when I say the best ones, perhaps I mean the most known ones, because you're not talking about best and not best and so on in the whole calypso world. So we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to give you the privilege to start where you are in the calypso countdown, as it were. And we talk a little bit, we play the music and talk a little bit, and we go along like that all afternoon. Of course, there are people who want to join us and engage the chat, then we're going to accommodate that. So, Zeno, let's tell us where you want to start in terms of the election calypsos and give Charlo the signal so he can line them up.
Yeah, well, if it's a bit,
we'll chat a little bit and then we play the music.
I'm not sure. All right, before we do that, I want to pay tribute to a person you left out just now, and that is Prangalang.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell people Prangalang is perhaps for a man who wasn't formally educated at university, the most knowledgeable person on analyzing calypso I've ever known.
Right.
Be that as it may, what I had done is that I had
Zeno, sorry. There was another man who I encountered at Woodford Square from San Fernando also, Clemmy George. I show you.
Yeah, I know. I met Clemmy once when doing some research for a play I wrote on the Golden Tiger. So yeah, I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say what I had done a long while ago, 2 years ago. I had done this paper on looking at the 100 years. Well, it wasn't 100 then of election and how the Calypsonians framed their thoughts about the election. Our first election was 1925, and from then there were calypsos in support of the candidates, and this was all the way down to now, right? I mean, you have seen a fundamental change in that. Generally, they're just calypsos, but in the last 20 years or so, we have a lot of jingles, meaning calypsos that are 60 seconds long or thing tailor-made, you know, for the market of the campaign, but still calypso also. And we have seen also in the last, I say 20 years, a lot of calypsos that have been rearranged in lyrics and sometimes music to fit the campaign trail. So we could go all the way back. What I had done is looked at about 250 calypsos dealing with election, and I took out about 20, 23, 24 of those that preceded the election. Those that, not in terms of when they were sung or when they were recorded, but in terms of the content is dealing with the hustings, with dealing with the campaign trail, the platform speakers. We go into an election, what people think, what people say. and I did an arbitrary countdown. So I don't know if you want to start there and follow me.
Yeah. So you tell us which is the one that you want to start with. You have to give.
Yeah, so give me the song in the meantime, and while I line up this, you could give me the song. So while I line up the song, you could tell people about the song.
All right. Well, I don't know. About my phone, so I didn't really want to move to my computer. So I hope I'm right. And my number 20 was Pink Panther. After the victory of the against the PNM, and whether the NAR, when they moved, I think that's 91, when Manning became prime minister then and became the fourth prime minister of the country. Panther had this calypso called For the Good Times. He utilizes the melody of Al Green's calypso, For the Good Times, and he creates this calypso, very tongue-in-cheek, a lot of piquant. He singles out though the UNC part of the NR, but he just it's a very interesting calypso.
All right.
Okay,
So
Chalo, if you got it, let's
yes,
go
I
with
got
it.
it. So let's go with it.
Well, as you know, general elections are just around the corner. And all them party looking to put their business in order. And the women sitting down with Ramesh by the table. It looked like the UNC is in a lot of trouble. I don't know if it's because of the infighting, but it looks like the rising sun will soon be setting. So if you are a UNC supporter and somehow you're feeling the pressure, just in case you feel blue, I wrote this song just for you. Don't look so sad. You know it's over, but life goes on, and I'm sure you'll fool another. Just be glad you had a chance to do some paving, even though all where you pave still need fixing. For the good time.
Yeah. I remember that song well, Tony.
Yes. Tell us about it. What your memories of it are.
Well, I remember when he did this song, and I remember the elections and you know how it was, and how people were gravitating towards it. The PNM has always had a strong following when songs are sung in their favor, So I remember that, about that song at that point in time.
Okay, Zeno, what do you want to say about this song?
Yeah, well, you understand that Panther became a PNM candidate, I think, in the local general elections. I think twice. He didn't succeed either time, but he was a candidate. He's singing from inside. And the history of political calypso, not political, but election calypso, slightly different. It's a history of support for the PNM. We have seen some deviation, and I'm sure we're going to get one or two of those today. But that was it generally. And Panther wasn't too worried about using a melody that was well known, and make that incorporation into the whole thing. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful calypso. The picong is really nice. I mean, that's something that we're losing in the country. We're losing the art of picong because everybody feels uncomfortable when they tell them things. But this is really good.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear a little bit more of it, and then we'll come back to talk on another calypso.
For the good times, for the good times. But life goes on, and I'm sure you'll fool another. Just be glad you had a chance to do some paving. Even though all where you pave still need fixing. For the good time. For the good time. Well, tonight, if there's one thing I must say about the UNC, is a party that have no regards for democracy. For you could remember, against the will of the electors, they took 7 losers just so and make them winners. Just imagine people who lose the election. Today they're holding down big time minister position. Robinson tried to stop them, but they gave him so much a problem. They didn't listen at all, so the writing is on the wall. So don't lose yourself. You know it's over.
All right, yeah.
Yes, and Zeno, there are two things there, two persons there on one issue that I remember very well, him singing about President Robinson stopping for a while from giving ministerial positions to two persons that I remember. Roy Augustus, who had contested, I don't remember what seat, but he lost. And Rudal Munilal, who had contested against Prime Minister, Patrick Manning in the San Fernando East constituency. And the president's position was that this was breaking ground, breaking tradition, with, appointing losers, as he called them, to ministerial positions.
Yeah, well, I never really turned them losers, because in this party politics that Eric Williams introduced around 61 really, people lose election, as they say, not because they don't have quality, but because they're in the wrong constituency. As I always pointed out, Eric Williams could not have won his seat in Caroni, nor could Pandey have won in Port of Spain South. Rowley couldn't win in Siparia, and Kamala cannot win in San Fernando East. That's where your support is. So when they lose, they really lose. Right. The party loses in that area. But that's made me. In fact, Panta himself has a whole calypso called The Constitution, where he talks about that very issue, about choosing so-called losers. And it's interesting, the question of Robinson, because Robinson was called to make 3 different choices within this electoral thing. Right? In 95 with Pandey, in I think it's 2000, 18, and then with this idea of the ministerial senators.
Right.
Really.
What is the next calypso you're going to give it to Sir Charles so he could start playing in the background as we go along?
Well, I sneaked away just not to make sure to look at my list. It's Lady B from 2000, I think, singing "Not for Sale." Now, "Not for Sale" is interesting because she's in Tobago, as we know, and her calypso deals with people coming around as it is they want, back in them days anyway. I think it still is, handing out jerseys and money inside the jersey and so on. The normal handouts, which everybody does, every political party with money. It works. As we see later on when you come to Penguin's great calypso, they will give you anything. You see the roads start fixing and so on. But in Tobago, apparently, she saw the UNC handing out bread, actual bread. And she raised this calypso called "Not for Sale." you can't buy me Tobagonian spirit with that. Which of course is interesting. She just makes the point because she didn't like them, but they were handing out jerseys also, and money and jerseys, which seem to be the in thing. Which is interesting, because I have never been approached by anyone to get anything. So maybe I just in the wrong place.
Well, you're not alone. I myself, I have seen a lot of people walk, campaign in my areas for years. Nobody has ever handed me anything.
Well, exactly. They pass by me and they come and they have the manifesto and they have the flyers and things, but I never get anything to say take or don't take.
Yes, of course, it's well known, and it was in fact labeled as a campaigning strategy back in the time, which was called rum and roti politics, figuratively meaning the same kind of handout. And I could tell you a story as Charles starts playing the next piece. In the 1988 by-election in Diego Martin, Diego Martin Central, I think. It's the first time that Valley faced the electorate. He had been in the Senate before, but Devines had died, and there was a contest for the seat in the Diego Martin, East or West. I don't remember exactly which one. And there was a meeting. Clive Pants, incidentally, was a candidate of the NAR going into that by-election. And I covered a meeting at the Cocorite area. They were now building, they had built, in fact, those flats, those townhouses, whatever they are called, in the Cocorite area. And I saw this group of women who were on stage and campaigning for Carl Hudson Phillips of the ONR, meaning the NAR. And so I recognized them, I covered them with the camera and so on. And then when I reached Diego Martin Central, in the PNM meeting, the same woman appeared, this time with their PNM jerseys. So I went across and I said, well, I thought I just saw you in the NAR meeting, one long stoops. Fraser, you are right, we have to make a living, was their response. So
that's part of it.
Part of it is the values that people derive from campaigning. Chalo, you ready with the next song?
Definitely. Let's go, Lady B.
Granny call me. She fuming, she vex, look, she angry. Cool down, grandma, and tell me the cause of your anger. She says since she childhood days, they're in Tobago. She said that she never see nothing so. This thing confusing she had. UNC come up, they giving way bread. They could come with a manifesto and plan to pave the whole of Tobago. I am mine. It's election time. They could come with a truck and backhoe and pay from Charlottesville to Lambeau. I am mine. It's election time. But with money wrapped up in Jersey and with stale bread trying to buy me, they insulting my Tobago integrity. She said I not an auction block, I come from heavy Tobago stock. The strategy fail. Why? Cause I not for sale. Who do I talk to? Not me. What vex Granny? She don't often is she company 2 times weekly. She supplying bread to family. Smooth and solid bread with coconut fat. And on top the bread, she just put a plot. Quelo and Kiss were nothing with she. She always complained the bread too softy. If them and Pochoy Charles cannot agree, and they want to throw colas on he, be them mind. It's election time. And in Trinidad they vote a bad and leave man in feeling really bad. Be them mind. It's election time. But to even suggest I hungry and the stale bread going to appease me, my Tobago pride get crushed definitely. I'm not just any homo sapien, I'm a proud Tobago woman. The strategy fail, why? Granny not for sale.
Okay, Obi, what do you have to say about this one?
Well, let me make a plug for Lady B, a brilliant writer in her time. And in fact, she holds on favorable record of being in the most Calypso fiestas without ever making it to the match. I think 21 times. And second to her is Axelbach, another Tobagonian. I think he has 18. Yeah, but this Calypso is interesting. You see where Tobago lies, and the UNC, based on population, anyway, never made any inroads in Tobago. So her anger is these people are coming from outside. You know, as she says, she don't mind the pecan and interfere with George Charles, but don't come and tell me you can buy me with stale bread. And one wonders what is the price, because sometimes it's a highway, it's a byway, it's a hospital, you know, it's fixing all kind of things. So, but I like this Calypso, and I always love Lady B, the style. I felt bad for her that she didn't get a chance before she died. I didn't get to the big yard.
What strikes me, perhaps the most in this song, is the pride that she talks about. It goes beyond material, and it's hitting at her pride that she would sell out and sell her vote. So difficult, that was so difficult to win on the basis of some stale bread.
Yeah, the bread stale for she. I think the people who bought the bread didn't think so. That they think, well, you see, I think parties sit down and think, what will I get to you in your particular area that could make you cross the line? And maybe in some cases they felt Tobago is bread, some places it's jersey, some is money, some is drugs, some is, but all kind of thing, eh?
Yeah, and of course, you will know that that kind of material gift is not peculiar to Trinidad and Tobago politics. It's all over the world, in fact, where you have these kinds of elections which are covered. We just look at the recent US election, and one man alone putting $200 million into the campaign of the candidate that he supported.
Yeah, well, the fellas know the agenda, and you know after the election what they'll do. And in fact, I have after election top 20 to come up, do Calypsos that celebrated when they won, or they were angry and disappointed when they lost. Yeah, we have those too. Anyway.
Next one. Next Calypso.
Yeah. Where we going now by Black Stallion. I think it's the same year, the year 2000. We had those elections in 2000, 2001, 2002. 3 elections back to back. Contender says the more elections, the better, because every election people are fixing your road. And you get a little something here. But Stalin, this is the first Calypso that is, Panther was very PNM, pro-PNM, and Lady B, not saying she's PNM, but saying she's definitely anti-UNC. But Stalin is typical Stalin. He has never taken a political side. Because Stalin was the first of the Black Power Calypsonians to abandon, well, not really abandon, but to leave NJAC and go solo, meaning he's not going to be in anybody's party. And in this Calypso, nobody cares. He wear the hat of the culture man, saying that on the campaign trail. He went to the government meeting, he went to the opposition meeting, and nobody didn't talk about building a culture center. Nobody didn't talk about steel band and parang and so on. So you see, very typical Zalin. As one line says, it is my right to vote for somebody. It's also my right to vote for nobody. I don't have to give you my vote. I can keep my ID card and keep my polling card if you don't like culture. Not that thing about culture. They talk about all kind of other things. Very interesting. And Gypsy was there. So
Yes. And so Stalin is asserting that he has an agenda, and his agenda, according to you, is to the promotion of the culture. So let's hear it, Chalo.
yeah, Mr. Culture Man.
Pleasant night to you. This is how I feel about everything. Hear me? I shine up my ID card and I'm waiting. They tell me how the election coming. And I know as a citizen of this country, to vote, they say, is my civic duty. So I start walking around from meeting to meeting, listening to what politicians saying. But when it came around to election time, just so Stalin changed his mind. Nobody has say nothing about chutney music. Nobody has say what they gonna do for pan. Nothing about dancers, no Calypsonian. Like culture don't exist in this land. When I see how they're treating culture so bad, I send back the polling card. They don't care about me, I don't care about them. Me really want politician friend. About culture, they ain't strike a note. Keep your culture house, I go keep my vote. I went to a meeting quite Diego Martin. They tell me how the PM was talking. Well, I know he and Ralph Maratz, them is actors. But them ain't say nothing about no drama theater. Gypsy come up and he start talking about Manning. About the 50% airplay, he said nothing. Kamala talk about pipe and that wasn't all. Jack Warner come up and talk about football. Nobody say what they gonna do for chutney music. Nobody say what they gonna do for pan. Nothing about actors, dancers, no Calypsonian. Like culture don't exist in this land. When I see how they're treating culture so bad, I send back the polling card. They don't care about me, I don't care about them. Me ain't really want politician friend. About culture, you ain't strike a note. Keep your culture house, I go keep me.
Very definitive there, Zeno.
Yeah, and in fact, in the third stanza, he goes on to talk about the PNM. They were in a position then, and he made the same queries and the same accusation. Right? What Manning talk about, but he didn't talk about culture. So Stalin has been lucky, not lucky, has astutely avoided being cast in the role of a political party Calypsonian. And in fact, that's what you're seeing these days. These Calypsonians now have aligned themselves to our party, and that is it. But that's another story, because very interesting that you have come to that.
You know, when I was going through the music, when you sent it, Mr. Constance, and because this is a song that I don't know, I only discovered this song when you sent it the other day, So I'm going through it and I'm listening to it, you know, and I'm very impressed by this particular song, you know. And I said, well, you know, look how these things, these Calypsonians put these things together so well. And sometimes people even listen to some of those songs, you know. So I'm happy that we were able to be doing a program like this, and I give you guys 2 verses and 2 chorus so that we can try and get through a lot because we have a lot of songs.
Yeah, no problem. I know one PNM Peaceful was very angry with Stalin, and she's a Stalin supporter. But the fact that Stalin hit both the opposition and the government, both the UNC and the PNM, she didn't like that at all. But that's how Stalin survived, by not aligning himself to any party. Right? And you see later on when you come higher.
From what Charles said, of course, Charles is of a different generation to you and I.
Okay.
He's a young fella. You know,
all right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a youth man.
Well, we can't hold it against it.
What he said there and what comes out from all of that is the educational value of the Calypso in telling the story of what went before and the position of the Calypsonian as an independent soul looking on and commenting without a party card in his pocket. What's the next Calypso? Zeno, let Charles get it.
We're going back now to 100 years ago, 1925, the first general election, when only men over 21 and women over 30 who had money and the moneyed class could exercise that franchise. And going up for the election was Arthur Cipriani, very popular then, you know, friend of the Calypsonians, friend of the working man, friend of labor, and he got the support from Mentor, from Executor, and others. Now I don't have that Calypso, but that became a popular cry. Who you voting for? Cipriani. Who you voting for? Cipriani. We don't want no man to come and make basa here. We want Cipriani. In fact, that was used in more than one election, even for the 1935 election and all. What I have here was a piece by beginner singing about Cipriani. It's not really because there's no record. I mean, this is 1925. So we didn't get a chance to record it. I found it in the books, the history books on Calypso. But to me, it's very important though, to show that for the very first election, Calypsonians were aligning themselves with candidates and campaigning in a sense musically.
Okay. Let's go, Charlo.
Gifted is he, the Honorable Captain Cipriani. Gifted is he, the Honorable Captain Cipriani. Men may stand and fall, men may come and go, but the captain is our hero. As a West Indian born in this colony, he does his duties quite faithfully. He was born 60 years ago. Can you tell me of a better man that you know? He is known as a poor man's friend. For the right, he'll fight it out to the end. In politics, he is really strong, for he knows the right from the wrong. He's our friend and pride of this colony, gallant Captain Cipriani. In the legislative, this is what he do. Got shorter working hours for I and you. Compulsory education, he fought it on. That children should be proud of the land they born. If you get damage on work, they can't say it's true tack, for he has got the compensation act. Let's wish him long life, health and prosperity, Honorable Captain Cipriani.
Zeno, a very important and interesting Calypso.
Yeah, it wasn't done for the election, but of course it's a campaign for Cipriani himself. So it could pass, obviously. And Beginner is giving all his kudos to somebody I think the Calypsonians then supported because of, there's an incident where the police had come to stop a radio singing one night in the tent, and Cipriani was there, and Cipriani put a chair on the stage, and there the police to arrest radio for singing this calypso, called the Country Club scandal. So it's really a pass for Cipriani by beginner, and Cipriani did enter the Legislative Council. That is the word before the Parliament, called the LegCo for short. All the way up to the 60s years, I was singing about the LegCo, Legislative Council, which is the modern day Parliament. Election thing.
And of course, it's important to talk about the history of a man like Captain Cipriani. He was a soldier in the army, an officer. Of course, he was white, French Creole, and therefore he was accepted as opposed to the black soldiers who were kept in the barracks peeling potato, according to the history. And Cipriani came back to the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago in support of what he called the barefoot man. And Cipriani, he established a political organization, the Trinidad, what was it called? The Trinidad Labour Party. And you're talking about the end of the war, 1919, into the 1920s. So Cipriani is something that the young people should take cognizance of as a significant figure, labor figure at that period in time.
Yeah. I call it Sonia's friend.
Yes. Of course, he clashed with Butler at a later point in time. That's a different story.
Coming up.
Yes. So, what's the next song?
Sorry, no problem.
Zeno, just before you go on, just to inform our listeners that we are talking about election calypsos, and you just heard one that went back to the 1925 election. Incidentally, there was the first quote-unquote Indian party participated in that election, the EINC, the East Indian National, what was it, C4? I don't remember exactly, but it was EINC, the name of the party. And so Zeno, Constance, O.B. Constance, a former university lecturer in Calypso, and so on. And as we said at the top, we have to cherish Zeno. Zeno is the last of the Mohicans, the people who have studied the Calypso and written about the Calypso and so on. So he's taking us through this afternoon the election calypsos over a period of time. Next calypso, Zeno.
Right. We're going to 2015 election, all the way forward. And this is Ras Commander singing Just Go. Now, the reason why I selected this calypso, I remember once talking to deceased Brad Honoré, Calypsonian commenter, and he made a significant point to me. We don't have to mask. We don't have to double attack. We don't have to play all the time. Sometimes you could come with a frontal attack. Perhaps this is the situation. This is the case. This is my story. And in this calypso, I think this is the most frontal attack I've heard on a sitting prime minister. Because this is entering the 2015 election, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa is the prime minister. And as commander's advice is just go. I mean, without excuses, without argument, without anything. Right? He does say in the stanza as well, so and so and so, but in that chorus, there's no explanation. Just go. You fed up, just go. And that's why I said this one was chosen just to give that kind of thing. So, right, let's go to that.
A wise man once said that politics have a morality of its own. I say, within the political realm, corruption we must never condone. What say you? Hey! Is you come and ask we to run the country? Hey! You say what the next man did, you will do differently. You say you go manage for the whole populace. But your style of governance simply dividing the race. So the people them ask me to write a calypso. They don't want no set of lyrics, just simply tell you go. Go now, man. Give them good vibration. Hey.
when I sing the song. Just give them a hook line so they could sing along. So they tell me to tell you go, 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 just go, 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 just go, 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 just go. Caroni said to tell you go, 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 just go, 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 just go, 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 just go. Port of Spain said to tell you go, no, go, no, go, fast, go, fast. Just go, 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 just go. Hey, hey. As you get in power, you promote Rashmi. Hey, what you do? And your friends, the go pause, they get big contract in NP. You say Mr. Manning is a palace he was building, but it's the same palace you put your nephew and sister in. And they really tell we that you're not easy. What people does rub their foot with you drinking as a tea. If Trinidad was a cow, the way all your milk in her, you're not even leaving a drop of milk for she young heifer. So they tell me to tell you go, 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 just go, 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 just go, 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 just go. Arima said to tell you go, 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 just go, 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 just go, 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 just go. Moruga said to tell you go, fast, go, fast, go, fast, go, fast. Just go, 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 just go.
All right, Ras Commander there, Tony, Bongsi, Diddy.
Yeah, and seeing it as he saw it. Remember, of course, just to give a little background to the 2015 election, the PP, the People's Partnership, had won the election in 2010, an amalgamation, a coalition of political parties, NJAC, what was it? Yeah, right. They had come together and they governed. They shattered within 2 years. The Labour people went their way, etc., etc. And this is Ras Commander, a man from San Fernando. Obi.
Yeah.
Yeah, your interpretation of the Calypso.
Yeah, like I say, I love it for that reason. It's straightforward. I mean, I don't know Ras Commander's political leanings. I'm seeing him writing things on Facebook this last couple of weeks. I have his suspicions. But it's me to say that no. But he definitely has had a couple anti-Kamala Calypsos. Another one is called She Didn't Write Me. So this one stood out for me. Like I say, it's not necessarily the best of Calypsos. It is the ones that are relevant to looking at the campaign trail and how people react on the campaign trail, how the Calypsonians reacted to the politicians taking either side. Right, so.
And as you said at the introduction, this was not double entendre. He was not attempting to hide and to couch anything. He was saying it as he saw it. Your next Calypso, Zeno.
Tony, before we actually go there,
sorry,
just taking it back, because I was kind of looking for the name of the party. That was the Indian National Congress Party.
Congress, that's right. Yeah. Congress, the East Indian National Congress, 1925.
Yeah. Mr. Constance, go ahead.
Right. We're going to the great wily Master Chongda's Calypso from 2002 election, I think, called Too Much Parties, which, by the way, I only learned last week. That is a name. For years, I called it PNM and UNC. And Chongda's takes this, yes, he likes Stalin, has always avoided being openly supporting any party, at least openly. But in this one, he looks at the getting ready for the election and people hustling to kill each other over the election. You know, as we see what's happening all now, you know, there's this war on the streets and who vexed with who. And Chongda says, but these people are who big and rich and so on. Them don't care about the party, you know. And he mentions that this particular person was once a PNM and now he is in UNC, and this one was once in the NAR and he has jumped the party to this side. And he said, at the end, it's only stupid you and stupid me it's PNM and UNC. We
Still
fight each other,
relevant.
and they don't care. Something I learned very, very young, once on the campaign trail, and that people who rich don't really care. As they only want to know who they are, so they could continue what they were doing. And I don't think they could easily be touched. But this is a lovely Calypso. This is Chogda's entry in my top 20.
All right, here's Chogdas.
This thing called PNM, this thing called UNC, is one set of goatishness to mama guy, you and me. It ain't have no color, it ain't have no race, it ain't have no principles or any values in place. And it was never meant to be the answer for unity. It shares no philosophy with any consistency. Cause if you watch the pedigree in each and every party, the difference you'll see turns out to be a case of power and money. Them French Creoles in St. Anne's, Maraval and St. Clair, they don't hold no allegiance for nobody here. Rich men does be supporting who they feel going to win. Loyalty, friends, means nothing, money is their thing. That's why PNM quite on turn coat to UNC. And Mr. Wendell Motley's background showed he was with DSC. Hector McLean, the speaker, swore PNM till he dead. And when the last election over, he was UNC instead. Augustus Ramrecker sing, I knew him in Tapia. Next thing I know, he was a PNM minister. John Humphrey moved from Trinity and became a member of Tree. So it's only die-hard you and grassroots me, it's PNM and UNC. Jumba. This thing called PNM, this thing called UNC, is only a power play to get our sympathy. It's not about African, it's neither East Indian, it ain't have nothing to do with anybody's religion. Kamaluddin is a Muslim, Mahabi a Christian to the brim, yet Montano the mulatto, different race, same party, you know. Ronnie Williams and Max Awan are two Chinese politicians. And while both of them love PNM, Brian Quaitong had a problem. Them French Creoles in St. Anne's, Maraval and St. Clair, they don't hold no allegiance for nobody here. Rich men must be supporting who they feel going to win. Loyalty, friends, means nothing, money is their thing. The name Steve Ferguson, Israeli and East Indian, who with Ishak Albar and sing, the parties they financing. Joey Saw and Emily Elias, a PNM Lebanese, and yet Saga of the same caste helps UNC pay their fees. Syrian businessman John Rahel, PNM make him mayor. An African wage mark as well, UNC made him minister. PNM's fundraising dinner had businessmen of all color. So it's only stupidity, you and me, it's PNM and UNC.
Yeah, man, the mighty Chogdas there.
Yeah, Chalo, plenty education, plenty information there on that. Zeno?
Yeah, well, it's typical Chogdas. Chogdas is the master of that game. No one does it as well as he does. And so it is, he analyzes the situation from a different point of view. He tries to put away this Afro PNM in the UNC label and says people join for their own interests. They could come from everywhere just for their own interests and left us fighting in the sand. Ah, well.
And I think he was also indicating a class struggle rather
Yeah,
than an ethnic
exactly.
struggle.
He
And,
sees
you
the
know,
class
I have a story about that. I was once the news director of Trinidad and Tobago Television. So, in one of the elections, it's an election that the PNM lost. Manning lost power. I don't remember the exact year. But a businessman came to me with a tape that he had recorded a meeting. He was supporting Gordon Draper. I think it was in the Port of Spain North constituency. And he brought a tape to me for me to play in the news. And I said, well, we don't do that. We go out and do our own shooting and so on, reporting. And so we settled in. He realized that what he was attempting wouldn't go to work. So we settled into a conversation. And I said, so, if you're very much in support of the PNM in this election, suppose the PNM were to lose, what would happen? And he said to the effect that, well, we will think about it for about 2 weeks and then we'll join the party in power. As simple as that. So the loyalty, as Chalky had to do with their business interests rather than any serious
Life goes on.
political support. Chalu?
Life goes on.
Life goes on. And they have a business to run and they have influence to peddle. So that's it. Zeno, next Calypso.
Yeah, and that Hepburn, the mad scientist from the 1961 election. Well, really from 61 into 62. Very interesting. And the mad scientist, of course, is Regional Capilde, according to Napebo. This one is written by Rocky McCullin, and it's a pull down of the DLP leader who had been brought back from England where he was teaching mathematics and so on to be a foil to Eric Williams. Well, PNM have a bright, third brightest man in the world, and UNC the DLP then would now have a very bright mathematician, a scientist, as he styled himself. Napebo doesn't spare him at all. But as we see in the Calypso, very interesting.
To arm yourself with your weapons in the savannah. He said to burn up your radicals down at Cuba. He said to break up the voting machine that was brought by my government. It's the Mark scientists as usual preaching violence. Now you go on, boy, we're going to I go on. I break from the yes, from Trinidad and Tobago, the doctor has the code. Only in the rural districts supporting my scientists. The election was a hot pace. Some deceitful people vote race. But all who vote race, I have one thing to say. The doctor come here to stay. He didn't say to arm yourself with your weapon in the savannah. He didn't say to burn up your radicals down at Cuba. He didn't say to break up the voting machine that was brought by my government. Is the mad scientist as usual preaching violence? Hey, the freedom from the boy, hey, Madrid, the lucky head Election campaign is fun, I don't like how this one began. From that Sunday in the savannah, my blood started to shiver. An intelligent man addressing a congregation. Hear what he's offering, my son and daughter, is murder and manslaughter. To arm yourself with your weapon in the savannah. He said to arm up your radicals down at Cuba. He said to break up the voting machine that was brought by my government. Is the mad scientist as usual preaching violence?
The mad scientist.
Yeah, there was an incident, Zeno, in the savannah with Capildo. Maybe that is what Nap was referring to.
Yes, that was the most violent pre-election campaign we have ever had. It nearly came to blows, and to plunge us into what happened in Guyana with Jigan and Burnham, and we just escaped. And it was also the election of the voting machines.
Yeah.
Introduction by Eric Williams, have a machine where you pull a lever and you vote and so on, which the DLP, Democratic Labour Party, so these, of course, forerunner to today's UNC, and the successor to the PDP of Bali Sagan Maraj, they didn't trust it at all. and they were coming into their own, and they made a lot of protests about the campaign and the violence and people pulling on people banners and somebody smashed somebody's car window. It almost came to blows. And people had, I think the Minister of the Home Affairs, well, that is the man in charge of the police and the army, threatened Caprile. If he will, any violence will be back on him. So, but I think we're lucky we escaped that. I think the Calypso was also sung when they had a 1962 election political Calypso competition for independence or something around that time. But that's it.
Yeah. Cypher had a Calypso also on well, he didn't call him the mad scientist, but he talked about Ruchonat Capildeo and his scientific experiments.
Yeah. And when we come to the Cypher, we'll see that Cypher was wrong. As we'll see. All right.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Next Calypso.
Yeah, we're going to Haburn's friend, Christo, general elections. Also about the 1961 elections. I think this is number 13 coming down here. Yeah, also 13 or 12. I'm not sure the number. Anyway, so this is an interesting one too, because this is total support for the PNM in this one. That's a very interesting Calypso. Them days, Eric Williams would win, and he would entrench party politics. I don't know if this statement is true. It has been put into the history of Rum Talk, where Eric Williams was supposed to have said, if I put up a crapo, vote for the crap. Meaning, it doesn't matter the character of the candidate. PNM is a PNM, and therefore, you vote the party.
A PNM crapo is a good. A PNM crapo is a good crapo.
I think 61 was the last year any independent won an election. It might have been Sukaran in 61 or 56. I think it's 61. Somebody sneaked in there. After that, it was strictly party. All right, Christo. Before I...
You wearing the pants. If these people get on top, well, it's trouble. And we ain't got a chance. Now we faring better. Since we got we premier, we living in contentment. So who we want? PNM government. I live in Dong El Sicoro. I sit down near to my radio. When the news came over, big violence in Sewa. Man look a frightened like a mouse. I don't dare come out my house, but I hear that right down in Port of Spain, young and old with the same refrain. What they singing? Whip them, PNM, whip them. Stop them with this racket. If these people get control, well, it's trouble. We can't go in the market if that come to pass. Some sure to eat grass. So for future betterment, who we want? PNM government. I hear that up in Cuba, they attack a minister, and one Ramadan, he tried to break a voting machine. Well, that was ignorance. As you know, he didn't have a chance. They sent him to Carrera, and when he come out his back to his forefather, they ballin', whip them, PNM, whip them. You wearing the pants. If these people get on top, well, it's trouble, and we ain't got a chance. Now we doing better, since we got we premier. So for future betterment, who we want? PNM government. So let us compliment we new government. Far and wide, partner, don't mind the other side, because long ago, you could have come from Tokyo over here and put up a big business and walk out with your pocket full of interest. Not again, whip them, PNM, whip them. You wearing the pants. If these people get on top, well, it's trouble, and we ain't got a chance. Now we faring better, since we got we premier, free education and low house rent. Who we want? PNM government.
Yeah, man. Christo, you know, when you listen to that song, the tune of the Calypsos then And the messaging today has not really changed much, you know.
He whereas Zeno, whereas Chalkdust was singing about class affiliation, Napebun is sure that he's talking about ethnic, not Napebun, Christo, talking about we people and those people and so on. Clear ethnic divide in this song.
Yeah, which basically was a reality anyway. I think I remember around that time, end of the 50s, Striker singing a Calypso about that. He said it could be Catch a Tail, Catch a Crab, Ramlal, or ABC, Mutilal, they put in the man, you know. They didn't care who it is. And that thing became entrenched in our society. It's difficult to get it out now.
Yeah.
But that's what it is about, you know. Fortunately, but that's the politics. We talk about it even now and see, but you know, both for anybody or one. But as you will see when they get to Kuku and they get to these people, they still say it. If it's John Party and you're going from the Afro base to the Indian base, is a traitor. But we'll see.
Well, of course, you know, if we had time, we could talk about the historical division of the two ethnic groups. One on the plantation and one in the town, and so on. People are divided, not interacting with each other, and struggling to hold on to power in one form or the other. Your next Calypso.
We're going now to the Grandmaster. This is from 1996, I think. It's called Election Derby. Interesting, where Kitchener looks at the whole election campaigning as a horse race. And who gets even odds and who, you know, we 1 to 10 and so on. But before he played, interesting thing is Lingo told me a few days ago that he was actually at a PNM meeting when Kitchener sang this song before the election. And as I said before, a lot of these songs talk about pre-election promises and campaigning and hustings and so on, but were actually recorded afterwards, or recorded or sang in the 10th the next year. Lingo said Kitchener actually sang this on a PNM platform in 95, leading up to the election. Very interesting Calypso. I'll say one thing again about it. Valentino answered him the next year, when, of course, the PNM lost the Pandy 95. And Valentino is a long-time pal, booked for that Kitchener, using the same horse racing and analogy. But this is a real nice Calypso coming from the Grandmaster. He's a boss. And he was at PNM until he died.
in second place, accelerating like zoom. NAR is making haste, looking for racing room. While all this is happening, the whole grandstand ball, it was so disappointing, and that jockey fall. 2 to 1, PNM. 6 to 1, UNC. 8 to 1, NAR. 9 to 1, Moxie. And Jack showing 10 for the most, the rest of them 99.
They waited to see who first go past the finishing line. PNM.
They want to beat,
PNM.
how to repeat.
PNM. PNM. PNM.
Sun or rain,
PNM.
should win again.
PNM. PNM.
What's the rush?
Giddy up, new style come up. NAR, Mopsy, and Ninja.
Yeah, election day be there by the Grandmaster, and as you know, said a PNM to his heart and soul.
Definitely till he died. PNM supporter. Well, nothing wrong with that. Except that we have seen the rise of the political Calypso crushed because Calypso does no longer want to pull up the government in power if they are PNM and PNM in power. So you have 10 years since Kamala, and you still hearing Calypso's about Kamala rather than about Rowley.
Yes.
Well, you have one or two, but I think they were effectively
Very few,
silenced by
very
the
few.
barrage of toilet people in Skinner Park in the last 50, 20 years. Yeah, great Kitchener Calypso, man.
So Zeno, but Kitchener, notwithstanding his PNMS till he dead, he had a calypso. I'm trying to remember the name of it, in which she was severely critical in a kind of tongue-in-cheek manner about the PNM. It's not comfortable.
He had one in 1973, I think it is. Yeah, he did Jericho, which he said, come to me. I'm glad for Gladys Granger, glad for weeks also, glad for all them detainees. I'm so glad they let them go. And he talks about, oh, what a country.
Yeah, what a country, what a people, etc., etc.
No
Next
freedom. To call no freedom. Right? Yeah.
Next calypso on the list,
I think we're going by cipher. Now, this is a cipher from 1956 election, very early. And actually, cipher repeats this 10 years later in 1966 into 67, meaning he repeats the formula. In this calypso, he's on the road and he's looking at the calypso, the candidates. At that time, of course, he's dealing with Holmes, right? And then dealing with Williams, and that comparison with them taking favor to Williams. It's called PNM Shake Your Balize. Starting in 57, of course, but definitely about the 66 election, which PNM won.
Turn, and the Cyber is coming to tell you about the PNM activities and the Balize. Thank you.
24th of September, election day, well, I'm bound to remember. 24th of September, election day, the Lord bound to remember. A steel band held up in front of my door was a PNM victory, I'm sure. Well, I came outside to enjoy the fete when a nurse held me around my neck. She said, PNM, shake the Balize. Well, it was see how that lady break her way. Well, I told her, shake if you're shaking. We start from Arima to meet the next candidate, Tonapuna. Red Army was leading, crossfire behind. Imagine how I jump in the lotto last not to drink no rum. So I stopped by the police station. The corporal came out from an uppy face with a long balize tire wrong waist. He said, PNM. Well, the cipher break away. Oh, I told her, shake if you're shaking. Walking up Charlotte Street, All-Star Steel Banner quickly meet. Everybody in a ring, crowd to tick, Cypher can't stick a pin. I said, who is that man? They said, that's the brain. A next fellow in a box, I won't call no name. I said, where you all would be going with he? They said, Dong Mokorapo Cemetery, so it's well, the Cypher break away. Oh, Atola, shake if you're shaking. Cypher.
Yeah, that's the cipher there.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, is the mighty Cypher's turn.
Yeah.
And the Cypher
Yeah, guys, so
Tony, I
nice,
think your
guys,
mic
so
might be
nice.
muted.
about the PNM activities and the Balize.
All right, Tony, your microphone is muted, so you need to unmute your
All right.
Sorry about it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I could jump in.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Now, sir, I was about to say, I like the line. Cypher says, I feel like in a box. He said, where you not going with he? He said, don't book a post cemetery. He consigns Albert Gomes to the dustbin, to the cemetery for the picture. This kind of stuff is really good.
Yeah.
And I like the idea, the whole freedom and the whole flavor of this calypso. You could see people coming down the road, the campaigning and waving the Balize and so on.
Of course, Zeno, we and Chalo, we have to put Albert Gomes in a certain kind of context, in that he was one of the voices raised in support of the Calypso back in the 1950s, when that was not very popular among some people like himself. So we still have to contextualize Albert Gomes in that context. But I suppose what transpired was that Albert Gomes was fading from the stage and Dr. Williams was coming on to the stage.
Exactly, the exchange, the brain versus big belly, as Sparrow says. All right, well, we're going to the Foster next. I said this one, I can't vote for that. Very interesting thing, the Foster up against Mannings. I think this is 2000, I'm not even sure, around 2003. The time of in a palace state of mind by the Foster. And the fellow says, you can't campaign with me because all your sins are exposed and we can't vote for that. Now, what is interesting is after the election, when the thing changed, it was quick cross election. He voted one call. We didn't vote for that. It turned on me so quickly. But I like the Calypso. It's musical. It's the Foster who was fearless. Even after they blew him down for his political views, he would keep rising. All right.
Money spending so, money going so. In less than 2.5 years back to the polls we go. Allegations here, allegations there. It's we the poor people who just suffer year after year. This one taking we money, that one taking we money. Time to put a stop, so come my people wake up. Billions for a rapid rail coming, only crumbs for people getting. I can't vote for that. No, I can't vote for that. More billions again they're spending on smelter, moving the people helter skelter. I can't vote for that. Oh no, I can't vote for that. Not until I see
promises again, but I know you don't hear less. You don't hear the cries of poor people after election, especially in Laventille, Moverseal, let's beat 'em, John. We can't take no more. Though we love you, we need a change. Time to put a stop. So come, my people, wake up. Billions for summit and high-rise building. No beds in the hospitals to sleep in. I can't vote for that. Yeah. I can't vote for that. 80 million again to repair Napa after spending 500 million proper. I can't vote for that. Oh no. I can't vote for that. Not until I see every road well paved in TNT, and we the people on the treasury. Hear me? I can't vote for that. No, no. I can't vote for that. No, 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 not until I see farmers get back their land to plant food for we, and all the water they need. Hear me? Tell them. I can't vote for that. Oh no. I can't vote for that. Oh no. I can't vote for that.
The original DeFosto himself, you know, a man who, or once there's a topic of something happening in this country, I admired him for that. Something happened today, tomorrow DeFosto write a song.
Definitely. And Zeno, yes, you wanted to say something at the back of that?
Yes, I was about to say that the first two, the Calypsonian, were the most tribute songs among any in Calypso, in the history of Calypso.
Yeah.
I think I have about 15 tributes to in different individuals. But this is, as I said, this is important Calypso because it takes a dig at the PNM in power, which doesn't happen much on this survey anyway. It doesn't happen much generally. But the first two was that way. Get some boo after that and think, but he survived and he claimed his Calypso status. But it's very interesting that he would take a hit at Manning's here on the PNM. We can't vote for that. Even though he afterwards, when the thing changed, he said he didn't vote for that.
Yeah.
He first two, big man.
Just to say something about Calypsonians such as DeFosto, there came a period in time when they were being paid by the political parties. I think my expression, my own opinion here, is that it was a sad period when the Calypsonians were being paid. I'm not against them being paid, but when they were selling themselves and their talents. And, you know, I met DeFosto one day outside of the bank NCB on Marval Road, right opposite to TTT. And he and Crazy and somebody else had sung a lot of political calypsos for the UNC, and he was in deep pain that they hadn't got what was promised to them by way of financial payment, and he was very deep. Incidentally, it was clear that he wasn't well at that point in time. He was going down, and he was very painful that the politicians who made agreements with him beforehand, he didn't get the kind of money that was offered. Next Calypso, Zeno.
Yeah, but first are the Sparrows. Sparrow come to sing Where Your Bally's This is a powerful Calypso from the 56 election. I'm sure 61. Anyway, Where Your Bally's on election is a full support of the government. Now, Sparrow had moved from PNM against PNM, back to PNM, and then of course later on in life to the ONR. I don't think he ever went back to the PNM, but at this early stage, it is Where Your Bally's. So this is something that you're not supposed to do. On the election day, you're not supposed to show your political emblems and so on, but he says Where Your Bally's on election day, meaning come full forth and support.
Be careful how you're voting. I tell you, be careful how you're voting. Well, brethren, we want a government like the one we have. Don't change the government. otherwise you starve. Take out your identification card, and when you're voting, vote for a prosperous. Let me tell you, I know you have good intention. Don't forget Sparrow did mention.
Let your body say on election day.
Hey, the doctor break away.
Let your body say on election day.
Don't mind with Lionel say.
Let your body say on election day.
Lio go lie till judgment day.
Let your body say on election day. Let your body say on election day. Let your body say on election day. Let your body say on election day. Let your body say on election day.
Registration, then election, so use your discretion. Don't worry, say you're sorry. Just vote correctly, it's the best ever government. If a liar die, don't make no mistake, you're sure to miss the water if the well run dry. So take out your identification card, and when you're voting,
vote for a prosperous.
Let me tell you, I know you have good intention. Don't forget Sparrow mention.
Let your body say on election day.
Glambedore.
Let your body say on election day.
Where your body say on election day?
Yes, yes, Zeno, that was one of a number of pro-Williams calypsos that Sparrow sang in that period, the late 50s into the 60s?
Yes, 50s, I think the 61 year. I mean, you could put under this calypso, this is a paid political announcement. It has nothing to do with just being a calypso. This is come out to say, where your body say on election day. Look care what Lionel say, forget Sukarat. Yeah.
Lionel,
right.
Yes. Lionel, of course, referred to the DLP's Lionel Sukaran of the period.
Yeah. He was first and independent anyway. Right. All right. Well, what next is Kitchener? PNM March. I think we had 81 election now. Kitchener is singing this very pro PNM calypso. But I like it because it's tempo, it's road march, it's Kitchener. You know, this great composer of music and lyrics. So let's hear it when you're ready. PNM March coming up next.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
They had out a slogan, they go in election. They say that it's PNM, well this is the last of them. And what they gonna do in future, well when you see them take over. But all this was just in vain, for it was PNM back again.
We go beat them this election. It is not as easy as they say. It will take a stronger opposition to be the PNM party today.
The doctor say
PNM,
he here to stay.
PNM,
just take it cool.
PNM,
he come to rule.
PNM,
so play your mask.
PNM,
forget the past.
PNM,
jump up and play.
PNM,
PNM way.
PNM.
The day of the voting, you hear people talking, some hailing for DLP, some say it is DAC, but while they were there arguing about who they think should be leading, the nation was making sure they vote the ruling party once more.
We go beat them
oh Lord.
this election. It is not as easy as they say. It will take a stronger opposition to be the PNM party today.
The doctor say
PNM,
he here to stay.
PNM,
just take it cool.
PNM,
he come to rule.
PNM,
so play your mask.
PNM,
forget the past.
PNM,
jump up and play.
PNM,
PNM way.
PNM.
The Lord Kitchener there, I think, as you know, probably at that point in time, and even today, when you have a prominent, strong Calypsonian, as the Lord Kitchener was then, that endorses you totally You know, I mean, that has to be a major plus for any political party.
Exactly. We go beat them next election. Not as easy as we say, no? It can't be the PNM party today. Yeah, very strong, very strong. And workable too. Right. But going from a PNM, full PNM one that criticize government on the whole and the techniques they use. And this is a great calypso. Shadow has one like this, but I think this is the best I've heard it this style. This penguin singing Doggy Look About. You know? And you hear it now as they go along, you know, political parties, what we build, what we do. Look, we get a road and we clean down here and we give you a zoo, and we give you a stadium. And, forget it, of course, it's our money, but that's another stuff.
Just before we go on to the music, just to inform our listeners that we are talking about election calypsos. And we have Zeno, Constance with us, taking us through a number of calypsos. I don't know what number we've reached, Chalo, but
I think we are sure number 6. We should be at 6 plus planning.
We have to get in all of the major ones, which I'm sure will come a day. And so, go ahead, Chalo.
Yeah.
I shame for them, politician, like old Poppy. They just treat me when time to run for election. All this dog treatment is done. And what make the thing a joke, like the trick does always work. They ill-treat the puppy, beat the puppy, then they come to coke. Doggy look a bone, doggy, doggy look a bone, doggy look a bone, doggy, doggy look a bone. After election, all the bone done. So come and touch it. Don't look so shocked. Don't just watch it. Doggy suck. All through the years, we shared in tears. They too busy. They can't see we. Time to depend on we vote. So then, just so we and them is friend. Stop it to say howdy do. Shaking hand with me and you. They will hug your granny, kiss your baby while we dribble too. Doggy look a bone. Doggy, doggy look a bone, look a bone. Doggy look a bone. Doggy, doggy look a bone, look a bone. After election, all the bone done. So come and touch it. Don't look so shocked. Don't just watch it. Doggy song.
Doggy, doggy, look a bone.
You know what's interesting about that Calypso and Penguin? He was the brother of Martin Joseph, who was a government minister.
Exactly. Irony. All right. Well, the next Calypso is what I heard at the top of the hour, which is Bali's Brilliant Party Time. It comes at to me just outside the top 5, but this is really a great calypso, and it's a party time about, you know, another DJ they call it the tax wizard. Play on the DJ, the wax wizard. But the brilliant calypso by Bali about all the parties. It doesn't matter who. I think this is a 1981 from that period. No, 1986.
1986, yeah.
86, yeah.
Robbie the Tax Wizard, 1986. And putting the parties together.
It was party time once again across the land. Anyway, you pass, people getting out the hand. When DJ George and Robbie in front the band, all because of, let me hear you. Them promoters, all of them are silver tongue. Was the best around, with promises of utopian song. All because of I never hear them jump, I jump up so and take no man. going the bacchanal. Just to get your vote, I say I and NPM. Begging you, bet with them.
And it's party time all over again.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this is my favorite election calypso. What I like about it is how we made fun of everybody. All of the political parties, cutting left, right, and center. Zeno.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I mean, like I say, my countdown is my personal thing, so not to do with what better than what anyway. But next is I think we have Black Stallion before we go to the other cipher. And this Stallion is typical Stallion. It's Vampire Year from 1981. And he considers all the parties to be on the same cost, including the NJC, who we call party, what? Vampire in Dashiki anti, Vampire in, you know. That
telling you
friend or foe.
lie.
Yeah, I tell you, friend or foe. All right.
They give the whole 79 to the children. My brother man, Black Stallion save you, yeah. 81 in Trinidad is vampire, yeah. Trinidad vampire pack up the class. It's every 5 years it has passed. With crucifix and cross it would make the grave. There's only chalice and loud smoke the free. So if the chalice smoking, vampire passing. Every vampire small, vampire party, vampire maestro, vampire. If the chalice smoking, vampire passing. The man with the whiskey hole in a party, being with money just to suck me. If the chalice smoking, vampire passing. Vampire with PhD, HC and AC. Vampire from in the university. Vampire with that shiki jacket and tie. Vampire telling you they don't lie. Just a little bit of blood to do. They're taking some sweat and some tears too. And from the time you join up, you will pay. You see in them the next 5 years ago. So keep the chalice smoking, vampire passing. Collation vampire, milestone vampire, humble vampire, hiccup vampire. Keep the chalice smoking, vampire passing. Close up the front door, close up your back door, hang up your steel bread, turn round your bed head. Keep the chalice smoking, vampire passing.
I like the way that he says that, and he identifies all the things that you need to do to keep the vampires away.
Yeah, the Rastafarian, the smoke of the Rastafarian ganja. Don't come here. And
Chillaman grass.
Yes, years later we are here. The fellas say, "Do the pussy, don't come inside here." All right. Well,
Stalin is protecting his own people.
And the truth. Yes.
Go ahead.
I know we close at time, so I know next is Cypher's last election, which tries to destroy Capital Day and destroy Butler, the old brigade for the PNM. This one in the 1967 crop. It's a really brilliantly done calypso that very religious had written about in depth this particular calypso. All right.
Cypher. And how about that round of applause for Cypher?
Election had so much fun. I am one who's sorry it done. Last election had so much fun. I fight one who's sorry it done. I love to see how men tuning beats. Some of them hands trembling like leaf. On the roadside they'll testify. With the manifesto only packed with lie. If you hear them We'll take away the oil field from the Yankee and divide them up between all of we. Tate and Lyle wouldn't have no claim. We'll take away the factories, also sugarcane. We'll take the animals and turn to meat. Horse, hoof and cow heel would be very sweet. After all these things have been said, they stone down the candidate with rotten egg. Some people say that it was confusing. The Lord said no, it was just amusing. If a man is down to gain power, he show the lions in which he devour. One came from England down here, and you can believe he was well prepared. With some assistance from I and you. Here what the scientists decide to do. He said that children will be getting education from England by television. The train could make no money in town. He running a rail underground. He'll be building houses up in the air, and helicopter will be taking you up there. So if you tumble down like a mouse, don't frighten. You're falling right down inside your house.
Kaiso.
Yeah. Let me say one time, ironically, the things he falls capitally for. For good ideas, the idea of education by television, which is happening now, building an underground metro or the underground rail, or even building skyscrapers. Oh well, before his time, I suppose.
Cypher,
go ahead.
Cypher had real fun in that Calypso
Yeah.
with the politicians. I think what he was doing is taking it from the perspective of the man in the street and saying to all of these politicians with high-fluted ideas that they're really fooling.
Yeah, they say it was confusing, but he said it was amusing. All right. I know the next one is Gypsy. This is everybody's favorite, the sinking ship. I don't know if Gypsy intended it to be so powerful, but it came out like this and it mashed up the 86 election for the NAR. So, Gypsy sinking ship, 1986.
Things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a ball. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, oh, she was a beauty with wealth that few surpassed. And in her day, she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully, she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took by bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough, oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa.
Yeah, one of the very fortunate ones. The ship was sinking and ended up back on the same ship.
Yeah, well, There's a calypso by Rio called Mr. Elusive. I think he was singing about Ras Mirage, but that could easily refer to Gypsy. They know where to move. Here today, go tomorrow. Anyway, I know.
But just before we go on, I covered that election as a reporter, and when that calypso was played, magic went through the audience. It was definitely one of the leading instruments and reasons for the NAR winning that election and winning by that kind of margin, 33-3. Yeah, Gypsy just sent the crowd crazy with that song. It was, for me, it was the calypso most powerful I've ever heard on a political campaign.
Yeah. All right. So we're nearly there. So going back to 1981, and this quintessential Sparrow Calypso called We Like It So is still being. And this calypso really great, he shows the thing in their face and watch the response of the audience, of the detractors. We like it so. Really brilliant.
The terrible school system is such a bloody problem. Take your steel beam and go. Agriculture's in a state, planning is inadequate. Take your steel beam and go. The northern and southern idol, the two kingpins are bubble. We know, we like it so. We like it so. We're free. That's wrong, he go put it right. Georgie Boshy tell with the head and night. So instead of displaying impatience, cool yourself and give the fella a chance. How the hell you could say, oh, and I go do better? We go send you back Grenada in a drum. We and Georgie going to put it right together, yeah. We have freeness and freedom, plenty roti, plenty rum. Hospitals have no linen, it's brown paper they're using. Take your steel beam and go. Public transportation is an abomination. Take your steel beam and go. Well, food, clothes and rent is proof. Cost of living gone through the roof. Take your steel beam and go. Classified information for personal gain is common. We know, we like it so.
Yes, we like it so.
That is the eternal cry of the brigade, We like it so.
Captures, Sparrow captures so well in the chorus the response of what was called the brigade, with some other things before it, which I wouldn't say, but he captured the spirit of it.
Yeah, and that's why I like this calypso. Well, I chose this one for my number one. It didn't have to be anybody else. This is J Play, a fully unknown calypsonian before and after Tyrone Hernandez, I think. And Joker wins for the V narrates that they came to him for a calypso for the election, and he wrote this one. And when the PNM lost in 86, he got a lot of flack for it. In fact, they left the country for a while. But to me, this is a quintessential, vote them out. I don't care. Just vote them out. Use your voting finger.
Incidentally, Zeno, did he also write Sparrow's Calypso? Because if he did, look at the differences, the different approaches that he took, completely contrasting one to the other.
Could be. Joker was the greatest of all ghostwriters. No doubt. All right.
Let's put our country together again.
I'm sorry I can't give you all more of that particular song because we're at that point. But
yeah, we get enough. We get enough to get him. Vote them out, man.
Yeah, vote them out. Well, we want to thank Zeno, Constance very much for coming this afternoon and sharing with our listeners the election calypsos going back to the 1920s, 100 years, full of election calypsos by elections. And if you chart the course, you can see the historical linkages made by the Calypsonians over the years. Zeno, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for the
Chalo?
platform. Sorry.
yes, Sonny, go ahead.
Yeah, just saying to you, Chalo, well, we had a wonderful time this afternoon with the election calypsos. Tomorrow, we're going to turn the page a little bit and look at the party's promises on the campaign trail. We have some economists, some business people and so on coming to talk about what the candidates and what the parties are putting forward. So we're taking them a little bit more seriously tomorrow.
Okay.
Zeno, Constance, thank you very much for talking with us and sharing with us this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you.
Chalo,
Yes,
over
thank
to
you.
you, Chalo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Constance. Thank you very much for the music. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. And Tony, thank you so much. People, this has been your afternoon drive time right here on New Era TT Radio. Straight ahead, we have David Muhammad with the Black Agenda.
Wake up with the Net Radio Breakfast Show. Rise and shine with Wendell Stevens and Richard Raghuvarsing, weekdays, from 6 o'clock to 9 a.m. Start your day feeling good, energized, and informed as we tackle the biggest issues of the day, get you where you need to be on time, and keep you in the know about everything that matters. With elections coming up on April 28th, we bring you insightful discussions, expert analysis, and the latest updates so you're always ahead of the curve. Mornings matter. Your voice matters. And it all starts right here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio. The Net Radio Breakfast Show, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. Wake up informed and stay ahead.
Join me, Brother David Muhammad, every Tuesday from 6